Uh, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Harakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of the great most and rule well. Shalom to all the brothers doing work, sincerity, and truth. Um, got this article on the Wall Street Journal, which surprisingly they just let you read, which I think shows like how the push for for the MLTB, which the new term they're kind of using for it is BCIs, or brain computer interfaces. That's how they're kind of referring to it now. But it's essentially been marketed under the wing of, this is something that is going to be to the benefit of humanity. Everyone that kind of fucks with it, they're going to be niced up. They're going to be they're essentially going to have things that now are like might be a disability or whatnot. You're going to kind of have the means to get around it by utilizing these things. So it's being sold as like a medical tool, and then really it's feeding into the biohacking, where people are thinking like, oh, you're gonna jam that into your brain, and then you're gonna be able to overcome certain restrictions of the flesh, make you live forever. You can develop your muscle tissue without having to do no push-ups. These kinds of things is that's really what I'd think the kind of push for it is. I mean, that's what the push for it is anyway. But yeah, this is on Wall Street Journal. It says, coming to a brain near you, a tiny computer. In the next 12 months, the number of people with brain-computer interface is set to double. So yeah, BCI, brain-computer interface. That's essentially what their the modern term. You go in the scriptures, you try and find it. It's going to be called the MOTB, the mark of the beast. But then, in the modern age, if you're talking about to your average Joe walking around, they'll know it as a brain computer interface or an implantable, microchip. So it says a high stakes technology race is playing out in the human brain. Brain computer interfaces are already letting people with paralysis control computers and communicate their needs, and will soon enable them to manipulate prosthetic limbs without moving a muscle. The year ahead is pivotal for the companies behind this technology. Fewer than 100 people to date have had brain computer interfaces permanently installed. In the next 12 months, that number will more than double. So yeah, you had years back now. Well, actually, no. You had, I think it was like 2 years back, for Neuralink, they were having to, to argue to justify the ability to jam them in people's heads. But then you did already have other companies that were able to do it. Because there's what, in the next 12 months, that number will more than double, provided the companies with new FDA experimental use approval meet their goals in clinical trials. Apple this week announced its intention to allow these implants to control iPhones and other products. So yeah, interfacing with like smartphones and what with just like regular technology, that's gonna be where people are just like, oh, you could be lying down in bed, and then just think, I want to turn the TV on, or I want to lower the volume down, or I want to like move the mouse, or like tap a certain part. All these, like, that's going to be the draw. That's going to be the appeal. But then, the fullness of it is you're giving Esau license to just, go up in and put whatever he desires in your brain. And that's something that is that's really the justification. You're giving over your autonomy over you to Esau Edom, man. So this is what there are dozens of so-called neurotech startups. Four lead the field of implants, paradromics, Synchron, Precision Neuroscience, and Elon Musk's Neuralink, which in some ways is the most ambitious of the four. All but Paradromics have reached a point at which they are putting tech inside people's heads. Each has its own approach, and all offer reasons they believe the product will come out ahead. All four are betting they'll eventually become a standard part of care for tens of thousands, perhaps even millions of us. The prize thereafter, Morgan Stanley projects a $1 billion a year brain computer implant market by 2041. So yeah, something that's again why it's like the whole, oh, it's gonna help cripples, it's gonna help people. That's all that no one cares about that shit as far as the people developing this. That's the justification to kind of like immediate initially get the what do you call it, to get the product being developed. But then when you go like down the line, they're looking for that shit to be for everyone, which is why it would be a billion a year, because every rascal would have it. Other than perhaps the quest for human level AI or colonization of other planets, not coincidentally, two other areas where Musk is a big proponent. Few fields exhibit such a wide gulf between a technology's potential and its near-term prospects. There is a vision that this is going to be a mass consumer thing, which is a vision that you can sell, says Ian Kajigas, a neurosurgeon of the University of Pennsylvania, who has done pioneering research on brain implants and has installed them in a handful of patients. As a clinician, I find that kind of dangerous way to talk. I find that kind of a dangerous way to talk. These are medical products, he emphasizes, with all the rest that attend brain surgery, including infection. To take the risk of a brain implant if you're a young person with no medical problems because you're at the mall and you want a better interface for your phone, I don't know how reasonable that is in the current world we live in. But that's the thing, is as far as for that angle, that's already been sold. People are already ready to jump on those things for something as seemingly uh like not even hand weight, just something so light, so inconsequential. Just to be able to, I can have my phone on a stand somewhere, and then just send the brainwave for it to take the picture, to take a picture from a distance, kind of a, that's like the level that people are willing to already go to just to get it. So yeah, that consumer level is the only angle really people are looking at in reality. And as far as the guys backing it, the big elite level backers, they already wanted what everyone, the end goal is everyone getting that C hit, man. And that's what you're seeing pushed, because what it is being developed, it's not being the end goal is not, oh, okay, we've made, if your arms don't work, you're paralyzed down your spine or whatever, now you can move around, you can move a robotic hand. No one gives a fuck. All they're thinking about is, oh, the selling point of, you've got your Fire Stick, or your, was it, Chromecast or whatever the fuck, or your smart TV, and then you're just going there like, bing, okay, take me to this channel, or thing, sending brainwaves and moving around. That's really what, like, and everyone wanting to do that. Because it's what, for the leading companies in the BCI market, it's generally accepted that the more bandwidth required, the more invasive the implant must be. Future breakthroughs in signal processing aside, implants have to go deeper into our brain tissue to get the best performance. Unknowns about safety, performance, and cost are why the trials that happen in the coming year could make or break these four contenders. So it's going to go through. We'll say brain implant allows patients to control an Apple Vision Pro headset. So it's interesting as well, because the Apple Vision Pro, the market for it seemed kind of weird, but then it's a lot of these things are being built upon later, because it was, what was it, Google Glass as well, I think, was one of the first ones where it was like the big bulky glasses, But then part of the issue is like you're meant to like look at stuff, and then you'll get like information on it. But then part of the issue was initially was internet speed, and like how fast the information can go, and then getting the technology smaller as well. But then these things are works in progress. These things are developments, and then what you're gonna have the end goal be. Uh, what's the end goal gonna be? The end goal is gonna be it basically gets fully utilized as in with those implants. That's where they're looking at, and that's. And the thing is you go back 10 years, you go back 15 years. You mention this, people are gonna call you a conspiracy nut. They're gonna say you're a whack job. They're gonna say you're fucking crazy. But lo and behold, here we have it. And that's the thing is whenever prophecy comes to pass, people just say, yeah, but what's the problem with it then? Which is that's always where it goes to. So well, it's good actually. But then they're just they're basically down with it. They've already accepted like, okay, yeah, no, fuck it. Well, Esau can have power over me. And it's going through the different ones. And again, I said, I'll just leave it down as far as for the article. It's on the Wall Street Journal, where generally for these articles, to read anything, you're going to have to pay. If you don't subscribe, you can't read shit. There's very few articles they let you read for free. And then lo and behold, this one is marketing the MOTB, which you just look at and you think, okay, that's interesting. Why are they doing that? But it's evident why. So I read this. Revelation 13 and 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And that's where it's going to end up, with this technology being developed and then utilized as what? A means of control, a means of asserting power within within Esau's realm. Because the fullness of it is everyone will have to get it, and like I said, it'll be in the brain or in the in the hand. And then the thing with this is they're going to be a justification. You go to movies like Children of Men. What's the other one? I was thinking of I Am Legend. Even 28 Days Later and whatnot, where a level of crisis hits to where it's perfectly normal. And the thing is they've shown it with the pandemic. You basically had, immense levels of power passed on to the government, immense levels of control over what you can do, go out, live, eat, engage with life, engage with society in a certain level, because the crisis was high enough. So, and it happened like that. 2020 kicked in. Then between, you've been hearing about C-19 in China in like November, maybe late October, the year before 2019. Then January, it seemed like, by February, people were like, oh, this is kind of sketch. And then you're starting to get cases. Then by March, they're like, nah, it's a wrap. Lock the thing down. It's done out the thing. And then, for how many months to years were people not able to go out, not able to do a goddamn thing, just off the back of that. That's, it shouldn't really be a marvel that these things can come through. And that's the thing is people are aware. Now it's become a reality. People really are aware that can happen. But then they're just not trying to engage. They're not trying to have their brain process those things. Because why? Then, that's upsetting. The other side is this Isaiah 30 and 2. Let me say it says, the walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Let me start from 1 actually. Isaiah 30 and 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Jehovah, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. And that's the fullness of taking that mark. It's basically the equivalent of the all a slave could get, where they'll basically be, permanently engaging themselves as a slave, and then in doing so, permanently engaging themselves as a slave, and then in doing so, basically giving the green light for for them to basically be a permanent possession. And that's the same thing you're doing with Esau, with with his mark. It's essentially saying like, yo, I'll just hold that I'm a possession of Esau, and then that's calm. And that's what most people are most people are already accepting of that anyway. They're looking at things where it's like they can't even see a society where Esau's not on top. As far as for them, when they hear the end of the world, they're thinking, oh, once Esau's not in power, then it's just everything's gonna crumble and return to dust. We're just we're gonna be in slums in the ends of the earth, just like with starving bellies, unable to do anything. You can't till the ground. All the technology and ways of living that existed before Esau came on the scene, those don't exist. No one's gonna know how to do anything. It's just gonna be like, oh, just legendary lamentation because Esau's not around. It's like, no, how can we live? That's the mindset they're in. But then why? It's because they've accepted his power over. They're looking at this thing like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. But then what does it say? Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. And Egypt's been that snare onto Israel from the longest. And really it matters as far as for Israel, because it's for Israel. If they take the mark, then salvation's they basically have to hold that shame and destruction that they're gonna have to partake in. Because why? Because as an Israelite, you have a role, you have a job to do, and you've completely just thrown that to the wayside. And there's a punishment associated with it. But I'll finish on this. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, it says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come all falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. So yeah, this man is essentially establishing himself as the Most High on earth. And people are looking at like, oh, no, there's, what is it, atheism? Well, it's even with atheism was the thing, like, if you go back like 10 years. But now it's all these different kind of new age religions where you're a god unto yourself, especially for women. Even for, it's for everyone. It's the modern viewpoint is really you're a god unto yourself, which is just going back to that Aleister Crowley spirit of do as thou wilt. It says do as thou wilt as long as you do no harm. But then it's your approach is fundamentally doing harm to yourself as well and to others regardless. And then you don't even have bounds or structures or any form of order anyway. So you're just it's just glory in yourself and thinking you're the be all and end all. But then what does it say? Oh yeah, and that's they've accepted that that by license he's essentially given them the license to live and conduct themselves in such a way. That's part of what they love. They can be out here indulging in their lifestyle, enjoying all the sweet meats of Esau's realm, and then engaging within different philosophies, different lifestyles, different whatevers within his world. And then, they want that sealed. And that's what that mark is, man. And that's why it's like, it's being sold as, all you've heard talking about was like, oh, people that paralyzed, oh, people that... But then why is it a $1 billion market? Because why everyone's going to get it, man. And that's according to prophecy. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom.